Hi guys and girls, I'm Karel Segers and here's another video coming to you from Wellington, New Zealand. We've just concluded 2 days of a combination of leisurely learning and pretty intensive workshopping. And in this video, I would like to explain to you that there is no such thing as story structure. You heard that right, from the guy who was once called Structure Man. In the name of Bill Murray, I must implore you to stop wasting your time on story structure. Now, why? Well, think about it. What is story structure? Say the 3-act structure. How do you know you're at the end of Act 1? You know because the character has established their goal and they start pursuing it. Now, you heard that. The character. So what do you do if you have more than one main character? What do you do when you have a dual protagonist story? You may have 2 different scenes in which characters establish their goals. And right there you see the problem. You no longer have a single Act 1. In fact, you need to look at structure for each character with their own journey. And right there, the whole construct of story structure falls apart. And really there is no other way, there's no other point of looking at structure other than the character. Because the character's intentions, the character's actions determine where in the story we are. And it determines the dynamics of events and action. So, therefore, we come to our conclusion, there's no such thing as story structure. So stop wasting your time on it. The fact that story structure doesn't exist doesn't mean that structure is unimportant altogether. In fact, it's vital. And in these videos, I'd like to cover a number of elements that I think are absolutely critical, and I'm hoping that I can shed a light on it and help you write more successfully. The element that I'd like to focus on now is the midpoint reversal, and as an example we're going to take Groundhog Day. You know that movie with Bill Murray?
Would you like to sit and stare at the fake fire?
In Groundhog Day we have a great example of a midpoint reversal that has a quick succession of a positive and a negative. Some people call it a false victory and then a false defeat. Now, in Groundhog Day, Bill Murray is trying to win over his producer, and he succeeds, kind of, by faking it, and he wins a kiss. But immediately thereafter, she gives him a slap when she realizes that it was all a setup.
I could never love someone like you, Phil, because you'll never love anyone but yourself.
That's not true. I don't even like myself. Give me another chance.
That's for making me care about you.
And that then starts the second half of the movie, in which the hero will have to take things the right way. He'll have to act truthfully and honestly, and he has to stop faking it. So this is the midpoint reversal in Groundhog Day. Perfect example of the kiss and the slap moment. So I've just spoken about the midpoint reversal in Groundhog Day. Now about loglines. Do you need to include that midpoint reversal in a logline? Well, the answer is ideally yes, because smart executives and producers will understand that you've structured your story with a character journey, a transformation, and a potential start of that transformation, a visible start of that transformation halfway the film. So if you can fit that in, if you are a skilled logliner, then by all means you should write your midpoint reversal into the logline. In fact, if you want a few examples, go to the logline.it website and go to our examples or our formula, and you'll see how I deal with JAWS and how I do a simple version of the JAWS logline and then one that does include the midpoint reversal. Well, because what happens in JAWS, in the first half of the film, the sheriff tries to close the beaches simply to protect the citizens of Amity, and it's not until the shark almost takes his son that things get personal, and he does what he's supposed to do, which is go after the shark itself. And ideally you want to take those 2 different goals into the one logline. Now obviously the risk here is that it may blow out your word count, so you got to look at, if you need to limit your word count, you choose whichever is most convenient or most suitable for the purpose of that particular logline. If the logline is commercial and you need to win over an audience, you may go for the more cinematic moments in the second half of the film. Therefore, the goal will be to kill the shark, and you leave out the first half. So if you have enough words at your disposal, then you include both halves of the film and also the midpoint reversal. I hope that helps. Yesterday we celebrated on Logline It with our 5,000th logline. And let's have a look at what that logline was about. I'll give you a quick review. Okay, we're on the website, logline.it, where we have 5,003 loglines today. So we're going to go back to number 5,000. So that's 3, 2, 1, 5,000. At first sight, it's a very long logline. I'm not even going to count the words, but visually you can tell this is 40 or 50 words. After a successful hotel owner and Sonny Boy is infected by a strange virus that turns him into a killing and raping beast when he smells women who have their fertile days, he leaves his job and family and moves to a mountain cabin in order to not hurt anyone. But things get complicated when a young female student seeks shelter from a snowstorm at his cabin. Okay. Not sure how PC this film is going to be, but we're not going to worry about that right now. We're purely looking at the structure of this logline and how the writer communicates it. So the character, we're looking for character, event, and action. The first element of character, the successful hotel owner and Sonny Boy. So he's successful. Other than that, nothing really interesting. There's no potential for a inner journey. You might say that the fact that he turns into a killing and raping beast is not really ideal, so maybe he wants to go back to normal, right? And maybe that transformation is some sort of metaphor. Don't immediately see it, but maybe you do. So we have our character. Now what is the event? He is infected by a strange virus that turns him into a killing and raping beast when he smells women who have their fertile days. So that infection is the event. Now what does he do? What is the action? He leaves his job and family and moves to a mountain cabin in order to not hurt anyone. Not really an action that can sustain a film. All right, he just moves. You could say there's a transition, maybe end of Act 1. And he retreats. Then the logline proceeds when things get complicated, when a young female student seeks shelter from a snowstorm at his cabin. We have, first of all, it sounds a little bit unfortunate that we have the word when twice shortly after one another. More importantly, this is another event piled up onto the first event. Things get complicated. The young female student seeks shelter, so she arrives at his doorstep. That's not something he does, that's something that happens to him. So we have no action. We really have no action, and therefore we have no story. We have a first event, that's the transformation into the killing and raping beast, and the second event is when the student comes to seek shelter. You could argue that that really only covers Act 1. And we have no idea what's going to happen in Act 2. How is he going to respond to it? What sort of goal develops from the situation that carries this character through Act 2 into Act 3? So there's a lot of words, but really no story. So too bad for logline number 5,000. There's a lot of work to be done. Maybe you can come back and post your revision in the comments. There's no comment yet, so you have plenty of space there. Do not repost a logline as a logline, but keep it in the same thread. So when we go here to have a look, we can see the improvements from the original. All right, thanks for posting. If you want to post, you can either publish your logline as a comment to this YouTube video underneath the video screen, or at least what you get it. Or you go to logline.it, post your logline there, and then notify me via email. My email address is somewhere here on the YouTube channel. I hope this logline was helpful. Let's go back to Wellington. That was another video coming to you from Wellington, New Zealand. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a like or push that subscribe button and the bell icon so you'll be notified when I publish my next video. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.